Hey, Vern.
Hey guys, Vern Danke, welcome back. Guess what we found? We found old dog Nutrix Paul in the Philippines, baby. Good to see you. Merry Christmas, Paul.
Thanks for having me. Merry Christmas.
Yeah. So Paul told me to revisit his channel when I had hit 1,000 subscribers, and we're real close. We're at 792. And because I'm leaving the Philippines and I won't be back for a while, I figured it'd be good to stop and visit before. So I appreciate all the YouTubers that you sent from your channel.
Sure.
That helped me maybe get about 350 subs, and that was huge because that fed the channel to grow, and that really helped. So I really appreciate that. Thanks a lot.
You deserve it.
Thank you. Thank you. So we have Christmas in the Philippines. Do you have your tree up yet?
Well, yeah, it is September, isn't it? So, Christmas in the Philippines is going to be a little different, I think, this year. The only thing that I've seen as a decoration is a hazmat suit. There's been no Christmas trees, but I honest to God saw a hazmat suit on sale.
Oh my God.
Christmas music is playing, but I don't think the Christmas spirit is quite here as it is every year. So hopefully they'll be able to lighten things up by Christmas, start letting some people in, at least some inter-island travel is what I'm looking forward to.
That would be great.
And, but you know, the news changes every day, so we don't know.
So I've got a Christmas tree I can loan you if you're interested.
I actually have a Christmas tree.
Oh, you do?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Tell us about your trip to Turkey. That's what I think.
Well,
We should be talking about why you're going,
okay.
where you're going, how you're going, what caused you to go. Maybe you can share that.
Okay. So my 3-year visa is up in September 15th. So as an expat, you're allowed to stay for 3 years maximum. Then you have to exit and come back in. But because of COVID, there is no re-entry. So this is my push out. I had planned to originally go home and visit my mom.
Okay.
But I didn't really want to stay in the US for that long of a time due to the expense. It's very expensive to stay there, and I didn't have a lot of options. So I wanted to stay somewhere where I could vlog more than anything. And I felt if I bought a big ticket to go back to the US, that's going to cost, close to $1,000. And then I'm going to have to spend another $700 to $800 to come back to this region.
Sure.
And then where am I going to go? I'm going to have to leapfrog from one place to another place. And so the reason I chose Turkey was it just was the only option that I knew of at the time that I could stay for a little bit of an extended period. And thankfully you mentioned Albania, which a US person can stay for up to a year with no visa.
Yeah.
And there's no COVID check in each place other than a basic health screening. So that is totally key for this voyage.
Yeah.
And I'd love to be back in the Philippines as soon as I can, but I'm not sure it's going to be an early option. What do you think?
Again, I don't make predictions anymore. I was totally wrong. When I first heard about COVID, I said, this thing will be over within 30 days.
Okay.
When I first saw it all going on in America, I said, it'll run its course, everybody will get excited, and then it'll go away. Well, it didn't. It turned into a whole different deal now, didn't it? Worldwide. So I think what's interesting is that you stayed here almost up to your 3 years, and I guess the viewers are aware of the fact that once a foreigner has hit a 3-year mark, you must exit the country for like 24 hours or something like that, and then you can come right back in. So, for example, you could just fly to Singapore and hang out in the airport and wait till midnight and then get on a plane and come back to the Philippines, and you're good for 3 more years. In Vern's case, what happened is he's been locked down here and unable to get out. Up until recently, they started to allow more frequent what's called sweeper flights, which are a little overpriced tickets that you have to wait till every Friday. And then on Friday, you go down and board it. I know 3 people now have already successfully gotten out of the country, but it's been brain damage the entire time at the airport, at the checkpoints, at the immigration, whatnot. So, not to depress you, but you're in for some future brain damage as you try to get out of here.
Okay.
But what Vern is doing is he's exercising. What he's done is he's thinking on his feet here. It's not the normal time, so he can't do normal things. He's made arrangements, from what I understand, to keep all your stuff safe. You've paid up your rent for the next 4 months. All your stuff's going to be protected and cared for, which is smart. You're going to go to Turkey, and what you can do is just take lemons and turn them into lemonade and vlog from there, and start doing an expat from the Philippines, exiled in Turkey or something. Something catchy,
I like it.
That would be a good comment. What can we call Vern's channel from Turkey? But you can bug around there, and then if you dig it, great. If you don't, you can always, like I said, fly into Albania. That's a place that's got no checks. It's very, very inexpensive from what I understand. I'm going to do a video about that in the near future. I'm going to be chatting with my friend who's living there now. He just arrived this week, and I'm going to kind of take his temperature, and I might even fly out there myself just to go snoop around and take a look.
Nice.
But the key here is, for Vern, is when can he return? That's the question that nobody can seem to give an answer to. And so, he's dealing with it the best way that he can. I would really recommend that you hit the like, share, and subscribe on this video, because it's going to contain information that might be rattling through people's heads right now as to what if something goes wrong in the Philippines. And what Vern did was he made sure that he had enough of a safety net to cover everything before he had to do something. Am I correct?
Right.
Now, we all hate to dip into our safety nets, and we protect them as best we can. I know Vern has been very, very, protective of how much you spend each month, and you want to always set aside a certain percentage each month and let that grow. Now it's time to exercise it, and thank God he has it. So I know of a guy right now that's in town that's had a medical episode. And he came with a finite amount of money.
Okay.
Unfortunately, the episode that he had was in his brain. It was a small aneurysm, if you will. And this gentleman is not really thinking correctly. And if he doesn't, and he will not take instructions, he's been told, you need to go home to America and get proper medical care. Right. He has plenty of money right now to do that, and he refuses because he's not in his right mind.
Oh boy.
Okay? So where's the lesson? The lesson is, if you're going to be here, make sure you have plenty of contacts. Make sure you have family and friends back home, that people like myself or you, if I got into trouble, you could go into my wallet, you could pull out my contact information, you could call my sister, you could call my dad, you could whatever. Hey, Paul's, had a brain aneurysm and he's not thinking correctly. We're going to need to get him. So you need to surround yourself with people that will protective cocoon. This gentleman, unfortunately, did not do that. So there's, you think your situation's bad because you've got to bail out for 3 years. Here's a guy that I just know is going to eventually run out of funds. Oh boy. And now where are we at?
Right.
We're at a guy that has a medical condition and is going to have a medical episode that the doctors have said will keep reoccurring, and then he's going to be out of money. And so there's like a nightmare waiting to happen. So that's one of the things that I think we're going to try to jump on in the next few days, me and I. Okay. And we're going to try to get in touch with this guy and the people that are sort of helping him right now, and see if we can't maybe intervene a little bit without being intrusive. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's good that you would do that.
But anyway, on your channel, I think that it's going to be really interesting when you are able to possibly just vlog about the experience of getting from Dumaguete to Manila.
Right.
And, there's going to be, from what I've heard, there's 1, 2, 3, 4 different things that you've got to get through to go there. I don't know if you have a hotel in Manila, if you've got to spend the night or not. Is that the truth? Is that what's going on?
So, I've got the 4 requirements met
to
get to the plane.
Okay.
So they allow me onto the plane. But one thing is my medical expired, which is like a 15-minute process. So I need to redo the medical the day of my flight at the Valencia hospital there. But once I get there, since I slept on getting the flight the same day out as my sweeper flight to Manila, I need to spend time in a hotel. But my thinking didn't go beyond that, and now I think, okay, are they going to allow me from the airport to a possible lockdown area in Manila? What is the requirements to get into my hotel? Are they going to let me outside the hotel to go shopping for the day that I'm there? And will my medical expire before the next flight goes out the next day? Do I need to get another medical? So there's all that for being an unknown. So yeah.
Here's the video.
It's all fun and games. So that's the craziness of the unknowns. And the rules can change from one region to another region, like you found out. And what is the immigration going to require when I get there, right? Is that going to be smooth sailing? I don't know.
Well, the experience that my friend had, the last guy that left, is he just did what you're doing. He went to the States.
Okay.
But he got through all the checkpoints and he had all the stuff, and they redo it all from what I understand. So I don't think your medical thing is going to be a big deal, but of course you're going to want to have it on you.
Okay.
But he got to his hotel and found out that, and got an email because he had lost his internet for half a day, that they had canceled. They said that the hotel was shut.
Oh my gosh.
But he was standing in the hotel, which was wide open. And Agoda had said, we're going to refund you your money because the hotel's no longer open.
Oh my gosh.
But he was standing in the hotel when he got the email. And so he went to the clerk and said, where's my room? And they said, well, your room's been canceled by Agoda.
Oh no.
And he's like, well, is it still available? And like, long story short, he paid an extra 300 pesos, which is $6, and he got the room.
Oh, wow.
And went up there. But that was just like one of those moments where, you've gotten to this point, and now you go to your hotel, and you're finding out it's canceled. And
Right.
so that's just atypical of stuff that I've heard from guys just trying to get out of the country.
Right.
And so I think that if you can document that, it would be interesting viewing for the viewers.
Absolutely. Yeah, I will do that for sure. And that's the thing. Being here for so long in the same area, it's almost like you start to kind of run out of ideas or content because you're not seeing things with fresh eyes. You need a break, you need a vacation. And for me, I'm gonna feel like I'm getting that. I'm gonna feel alive in the new area, and everything is new, just like coming here. So that's what's gonna be exciting. And then when I do come back, I'll have a different perspective, a different outlook, and I'll be rejuvenated. And I think that's important.
I agree. I agree wholeheartedly. Every time I've left the country, I've gone on 2 vacations from my vacation.
Okay.
And each time I come back with a new appreciation of where I live.
Nice.
And I'm at that point when I go on vacation that I've just had enough. It's like Dumaguete's very small, and I need to get out, and it's the same old,
Right.
and it starts to feel like Groundhog Day again. Even though things are going great, I still manage to find something to complain about.
Right. We all need different
I
stimuli.
leave, and everything that I don't like here is fixed over there because they've got good food, and they've got good infrastructure, and they've got good this, and they've got good that, and blah, blah, blah. But after 2 or 3 weeks, I just want to come back home.
Sure.
I want to come back to the people. I want to come back to my girlfriend. I want to come back to my lifestyle. And I realize that, it's not food, it's not things, it's not cars, it's not roads. It's more or less the soul of the place that keeps me alive and happy. And when I wake up every morning, I'm happy. And some days you go out and they're good, and some days you go out and they're bad. But I think that the break that you're taking, even though it's kind of being forced upon you, is going to be really good, really refreshing, really healthy for your whole mental state, maybe your physical state. And once you're there and you get settled in, that culture shock, you might discover a whole new world. And the cool thing is that you've got a channel that you can share that.
Right, totally agree. Because we all have an idea of what a place is like before we even go there. Because we're ingrained with the media, and so people are like, oh my gosh, you're going to the Philippines? Oh my gosh, you're going to Turkey? Because they have that fear, they have these scares. And what I've discovered just watching videos is that it's such an amazing place for food because you've got all these countries that have contributed to their foods for one
Correct.
thing, and then it's right where Asia and Europe meet.
Yep.
And so it's so culturally diverse.
Yeah.
And they're so used to foreigners in the region that I'm going to, but they don't teach that on the news. They don't teach that on social media. And so that's what the videos will help to do, I think. I think it'll help to bridge some of these gaps.
I hope so. And I think that, if your boots on the ground and you're just giving your bird's eye view of everything that's going on, what you're feeling, what you're thinking, what you're seeing, what you're smelling, what's happening, that's just priceless. I was watching a show last night called The Social Dilemma on Netflix, and all these behind the scenes people that used to work at Google, used to work at Facebook, used to work at all these social media are truly concerned about the information that's going out right now. And the statistic is that for every one piece of news that you hear is real, there are 6 pieces of fake news.
Oh boy.
So if you think about it, I could take a picture of you and me right now, and I could make a caption of anything that I wanted to say and post it up on Facebook, and a certain percentage of people are going to believe it.
True, I agree.
No matter what the caption says.
Sure. Sure. Because they won't check the facts or they won't dig any deeper.
No, they just read the headline and they believe it.
Right.
So, boots on the ground. Maybe I have a preconceived notion about Turkey. You can bring a different viewpoint to me and your viewers, and just give a real world assessment of what you're seeing and what you're thinking and what's just happening in your world.
So the coolest thing for me is I've always been into history and old things, and I get to step into history that goes back thousands of years.
Yeah.
Thousands of years.
Yeah.
And I've never been able to experience that. The Philippines is old, but there's not that much history that you can step into.
No.
Most of it's gone.
Right.
So I used to metal detect for years and years. I did it since 1980. So that was always something exciting for me. I would research the area and then find something cool and connect to the past. And so to be able to stand in something Roman, I mean, that's going to be amazing. And to share that, that's
Absolutely.
wow. So I'm really looking forward to this trip.
Absolutely.
And I never thought that I would even consider going there, but when expats said, "Hey, why don't you try Turkey?" That was Jason, and I thought, Turkey? Why don't I want to go to Turkey?
Right.
But all the avenues kind of pointed there, and finally it's like, okay, this is the path of least resistance. Why is this the path of least resistance? So, and I think that there's a little bit of a spiritual guide in life to take you to the certain steps that were maybe predestined for your life.
Absolutely. I agree with that 1,000% also.
I think this is a step that was put before my beginning to go there. So
Every blue moon, I think we all need a little slap in the face when we start to get complacent or comfortable or, settled in, and we're no longer being challenged.
Right.
And so the good news is that it's not like you're going to be stuck, your feet are going to be stuck in cement once you land. You're going to be there. You could get there, you could look around, you could say after 5 days, I hate this.
Right.
And you could book a flight and you could go to pick a country that'll let you in and give that a shot.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Totally agree.
So, that's the worst case scenario, is that you go there and you don't like it and you just decide to bug out. And maybe by then, well, not by then will you be allowed into the Philippines, but you could maybe go to Albania, you could go to this country, you could go to that country. And I know it's expensive to keep buying plane tickets and all that jazz, but once you get there, you're going to be vlogging. Hopefully your channel will start generating some revenue for you.
Right.
Another important thing I think that you might want to point out to the folks here is that when you first arrived for the first couple of years, you were doing online teaching. And apparently the whole topography of that has changed. And so it's tightened down, it's gotten less and less. The income potential for being an online TOEFL teacher or teaching the Chinese kids or Cambry or all these other things, I've heard it from everybody that's been teaching. Right. That has gone way down.
Yeah.
So I would make a public service announcement that if guys are sitting wherever you're sitting right now, and you're thinking, yeah, I'm gonna go over there, I'm gonna take 10 grand, and I'm gonna make 1,000 a month because I've got this job, you might want to rethink your thinking on that.
Totally
agree.
agree.
You want to expand on that as to what happened?
I totally agree, because it seems like the way a lot of these companies are mismanaged, they tend to go through teachers, and even if you found a school that would feed you a lot of work for a while, it usually goes like this. It starts at a high curve and then it just starts to downward slide. And I've talked to many teachers that have gone to many different schools because they seem to not really want long-term teachers in their schools. It's like a 1 or 2 year window, and then they try to push you out. They cut off your hours for whatever reason. If you could build your own school and get your own clients, which is really hard to do, then you could establish your own foundation and have that security. But there's no more security in teaching that I'm aware of. Even if you go teach for a school on the ground, there's still the politics, and yeah, it's just not. It's not a solid future. It can be a way to make some quick income, but I relied on it for a couple of years and it worked good. But after that, it's less than part-time. It's not even an income.
So I guess the moral of this story is things can and do change.
Yeah, and you have to have more than one source or avenue towards getting income. You know, I built my photography channel. I put a school in place to start teaching, a platform. If I could get students, if I were to go over to China or to go over to another Asian country, I could start to build that base if that was what I really wanted. You know, or I could go to Chinese tourist destinations. Hey, here's my card. I teach. You know, are you looking for a tutor? So there are options, but I always recommend having more than one thing at play. I have a fine art print business. I bought a really high-end Canon printer where I make museum quality prints, but I had no avenue to push my prints. And so a friend of mine has a custom computer business by the name of MNPC Tech back in Minnesota. And he told me, he says, you have to build a YouTube presence. Until you build a YouTube presence, it's going to be really hard to have an audience for anything that you're trying to do. So for me, this is my core audience. This is my beginning foundation to launch all the other things that I will do. And so I can feed my audience partially into my photography channel to take that off over time. And so this, I think, is important to have a base. And YouTube seems to be the base where you can do what you want and make some revenue over time. Will it stay forever? Who knows?
Probably not.
But it's a foundation to start. So, like you say, all good things come to an end.
It
right?
too will go to hell.
I think you're right. I'll look back at this video and I'll laugh one day. And go, yeah, remember those days?
I wanted to be a YouTube guy. Now look at me.
Right. And now everybody and their dog has got a YouTube channel now, right?
I think they've all been on my show.
I think so.
I like the dogs the best. They're the best people.
Right, there you go.
But bottom line is, we were chit-chatting a little bit before this, is that, you know, if push came to shove, fortunately for Vern, he's got a skill, and that is auto body and repair and all that kind of stuff. If it really came down to it, Vern can go back to America and, you know, just say, okay, you know, I gotta gut it out for a year and go back to work and pound away and do what you did really well for a really long time, and probably be hating life every day that you wake up because you're not doing what you want to do. But sometimes you just gotta suck it up. So I think this would be an important video for guys watching, just to give pause and say, what would my plan A, B, C, D, E be on a financial level?
Right.
So if a guy's got plenty of money coming in, it's guaranteed, plenty of money in the bank, it would be of no concern. But for the guys that are thinking about living on the edge a little bit, you know, their budget is smaller,
right,
which is 99% of the people that are doing this. That might be just something that they would want to reconsider, rethink,
right,
not put them off. But
right,
this COVID thing has really changed everything around and slowed everything down.
Completely.
So when you think, oh man, I was just getting ready to go to the Philippines, I was going to meet this girl, I was talking to her online, maybe this is a good thing for you. Maybe this is a time for you to say, you know what, I got X amount of dollars in the bank. Maybe I'll try to add another X amount to that.
Sure.
You know, I had
Sure.
15, maybe 25 is a better number. I had X amount of dollars coming in per month. Maybe I should try to get another rental unit, or I should hold off on my Social Security for 4 more months, or whatever. You know,
Right.
I mean, we can sit here and waterboard you with examples, but you get the idea. It would be a good time to make use of a bad time. So that's what May and I did in our lockdown quarantine time. Was we were able to just sort of sit around, and we were really grateful we had YouTube channels because we were locked in the apartment, and
Right.
so we stayed entertained. We just made videos, and then some of the videos were really popular, so we stayed up for 4 or 5 hours and just answered comments personally. You know,
Nice.
And it was like our eyes were bleeding by the time we were done. But we had fun with it, and
That's great.
We would sneak a few people over, and we'd throw them in the pool, and we'd jump around and have a good time. But I don't know. Sometimes these circumstances that we're forced to face end up being years later. You look back and you go, "That was the best thing that could have happened to me." And at the moment, you're saying, "This is the worst thing that could have happened to me."
Right.
And I personally have been there. You know, when I lost all my stuff and everything went to hell, I thought this is the most difficult time of my life, and it was. But now I look back at it, if that difficult time had not happened, I would not be here talking to you right now.
There you
I'd
go.
be back in America sitting in front of the boob tube waiting for, the latest Netflix show.
Right.
That would be my excitement.
Right. Yeah, you don't know where those paths are coming, and like you say, it usually meets you at a time when you need a change, when you're just too stuck into one set, and you need that to get you in.
Yeah,
So,
absolutely.
but with security, it's almost like there's never enough security. Just like you never have enough money, you're always going to have that. But I think what you're trying to say is, this is the absolute wrong place to come to have no safety net, because there is no social services here that's going to save your bacon if things go sour. And a lot of expats aren't going to have a lot of pity on you if you do not make any plans. So,
It can be a very cold place, boys and girls. The government's not going to help you. A lot of expats may want to help you, but can't.
there's that too.
There's just, I don't know about any foreign country where if I had a medical condition or a financial problem, I would want to leave and expose myself to that kind of danger.
Right,
You know what I mean?
right.
It's just not right. When I came out here, I made sure that I had X amount of dollars. I made sure that 2 of my Social Security checks hit the bank and actually cleared. And I was able to I wanted to see them, I didn't want to come out here hoping they would hit. I
Right.
made sure they did hit.
Good.
And then I waited another month and I made sure it still didn't go wrong. And then I felt more comfortable boarding the plane and coming out.
Okay. And that's one of my fears when I get to Turkey. Am I going to be able to access my funds? It's so that I have to learn that whole dynamic. What do I do? How do I send it to myself there? Do I Western Union? Do I use my cash card? So that's kind of like a big worry right now.
Well, your bank is going to need to be notified.
Already did that.
Okay,
Yeah.
well, that's 90%
Yeah.
of the game right there. And then when you first get there, try to, I don't know what you use to transfer your money, but within 24 hours, I would initiate a transfer. You get $100 or $1,000 or whatever your number is, and let it go ahead and go wrong.
That's a good idea.
Let it go wrong. Make sure you got a phone number that Zoom or TransferWise or
Right.
Western Union or whoever you're
See,
using.
I usually use Zoom, but Zoom doesn't service Turkey.
Oh, I
so-
didn't know that.
Yeah, they will do Albania, so I had to check
Once again, my sale for Albania continues.
So
But, did your debit card?
I've got a debit card.
Okay, so if you got a debit card, your debit card knows that you're going to Turkey, and you go to Turkey, the first thing I would do is I'd find an ATM, and I would drag out $100 just to make sure it works.
Right, right,
just
good
to
idea.
verify, because if it goes wrong, then maybe they want to send you a code or a text or
Right.
an email, and then you got to find out what goes wrong with that.
Right.
But in the meantime, you still got a pocket full of money, hopefully.
Absolutely.
That's going to run you for a month or two, and you go through this brain damage for the first 24 hours, and it gives you time to sort it out.
Right, I totally agree.
That's just what happens over here on a personal level. Guys come over, they try to get their money, they can't get the text because they forgot their phone number,
right.
or they don't have the code, and blah, 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 blah. So, you know, go over there and make some mistakes and make sure you belong.
Right. All right.
All right, buddy.
Thanks, Paul.
Thanks for having me over.
Yeah. I'll see you on the flip side.
See you next time. Stay good out there.
All right, good.
Hey, 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 Vern.